welcome to a speed build that's going to be a little bit more personal than usual because today I'm recreating my real life house in The Sims 4. Because if you've been following my channel for the past couple months, you've probably heard me talk about how I was buying a house. And I did mention a while ago that once I was all settled in, I wanted to try to recreate it so you all could have an idea of what it looks like. And plus I just thought it'd be a really fun challenge to try to do that, and I actually live in a house that could pretty easily be recreated in The Sims, so yeah, I just really wanted to go ahead and give that a try, so here we are doing that. And even though this house really should have been the easiest house on earth to recreate in the game, this was still a challenge because, I mean, this house is literally a rectangle. Like, there's nothing, you know, there's not a lot of crazy shape to it or anything like that, but it was still really tricky to try to recreate it because it's just, you know, as anyone who's tried to recreate real houses in The Sims know, it's just hard to get the dimensions right of everything, and it can be really frustrating. And I actually had like a scrapped attempt at making this house because I just struggled for a while to try to figure out what dimensions to make the room, so I just ended up starting over, you know, to where I could actually get the house put together a little bit quicker because I didn't want to have like 10 minutes of me just trying to figure out what size to make the rooms and like changing the shape of it and all of that. So yeah, there we go, here it is. But in the end, I do think I actually got the dimensions of the rooms to be pretty proportional to how they are in real life. I mean, it's not exact because some things are a little bigger than they actually are, some things are a little smaller than they actually are, but I think overall it's pretty close to being correct. But as you could probably tell at this point, my house is a pretty basic brick rancher. I mean, it's not really anything too crazy. It's made of brick, it's shaped kind of like a brick, but I still like it. It's just a really cute and cozy house, and I am so happy with it and so glad that we ended up finding this place in the end. Although something that really frustrated me when I was trying to get the outside of it right was those windows on the front left side of the house, the ones that are in the living room, because I could not find the right kind of window. Because I think in real life, the window would be the equivalent of like 4 tiles in Sims dimension, but there's no 4 tile wide windows. I don't think so. And if there were, they just weren't the right style. So all there were 3 tile wide windows. The best I could do was overlapping 2 of those windows from Parenthood. Like, it kind of looks right, but it's not exact. And also in real life, there's shutters on the windows, but I couldn't figure out something that really looked right as a shutter alternative. Like, I was trying to use those cutting boards that came with Cool Kitchen stuff and, like, you know, stacking them to make it look like shutters, but they were different color than the shutters that are on those other windows, so it just looked weird. So I ended up just not putting shutters. Like, there were some things when I was trying to recreate this that I just kind of had to give up on and do my best approximation of. So yeah, some things aren't exact, but I feel like it's pretty close. Although another thing that did frustrate me was that we of course don't have terrain tools in The Sims, and this house is actually on a hill, so I couldn't really do that. Like, one side of the house is actually out of the ground, so the basement is actually a walkout basement, but I of course couldn't actually do that in this game. I mean, I could have had a staircase going from basement level up, but that just wouldn't really look right, so I just decided to not do that at all. And you might be wondering why I'm sizing down a street lamp and putting it in front of the house, and that's because there is a light in front of the house that's kind of like the garden lights that come with the game, but it's just taller. And I was trying to size up the smaller outdoor lights, but that didn't really look right because then the bulbs are obnoxiously large. So sizing down a street lamp was the closest I could come to it. And the funny thing about this light is that for whatever reason, it's on the same circuit as the boiler for the house. So if we want heat, we have to keep that light on all the time, and we didn't quite realize that that was the case at first because when the sellers were, like when we were doing the the before closing walkthrough of the house, the sellers were there, and they're like, yeah, there's this emergency boiler shut-off switch in the staircase, but it doesn't go to the boiler anymore, it just goes to that light outside, but we just leave it on all the time just to be sure. So we didn't think it was actually like for the boiler anymore, but then we turned it off when we first went into the house after closing it, and we're wondering why there's no heat in the house and why, you know, the boiler wasn't turning on. Then that's when we realized it actually is still hooked to the boiler, so we just have to leave that light on all the time. So basically it's like the boiler's on light, which is really weird. So there's always those fun little quirks you learn about houses after you get them, but that's not really a huge deal. Like, there's a lot worse problems that a house could have than that, but that might be something we have to fix eventually, although I don't think it's really a safety issue. Is just kind of annoying that we have to waste electricity by having this stupid light in front of the house on literally all day if we want to have heat. But fortunately, this house is in really good shape, and the previous owners did a really nice job of updating things. And not just like cosmetic things on the house, like they did stuff with the plumbing and the electrical of the house, so a lot of things are brought up to modern standards, which is really good considering this house is about 50 years old, which isn't super old, but it's getting to where there can be things that are a problem if they haven't been updated to modern day standards. So we were really thankful for that, because one of the most nerve-wracking things with buying a house is worrying that you're going to find this house that you fall in love with and you get into the contract period with it, and then the house inspector comes and does this thing and you end up with this long list of issues with the house that are really bad and are things that you just can't even see and weren't even aware of at all, which, I mean, it's really good. Like, you want to find that stuff out before you actually go through and close on the house and have it become yours. Like, that's why you get a home inspection, so you can base your decision on that and potentially get out of the contract if there's too many issues with the house. But still, it's like, it's really hard if you have your heart set on this house and you find out that it's got issues you don't want to deal with. But fortunately, this house was in super good shape. Like, there were literally only 3 things that needed to be addressed on the home inspection, which is apparently unusually good, because our real estate agent was telling us that usually, like, it's pretty common to have multiple pages of things that need to be fixed, and usually you have to have your A, B, and C list. You have to pick things that you absolutely want the sellers to fix, or else you'll back out of the contract, and things that you would like fixed, but they don't have to fix, and then things that I guess are, you know, a little less, you need to be fixed a little less urgently, but you would like them to do, and usually they'll only do a couple of those things. You have to deal with the rest on your own. But since there are only 3 things, we just asked them if they would take care of those 3 things, or, well, actually they could really only take care of 2 of them, and they did. And then the other one was that the roof is like 20 years old and only has about 2 years of life left on it, which we were fine with, and the sellers did give us a little bit of credit towards getting the roof replaced, so that was fine. Like, that's not the hugest deal, because the roof is still in good shape. Like, it's not leaking, the shingles aren't falling off or anything like that. It's just one of those things that we need to take care of in the near future. And I actually have a kind of funny story relating to that. So this past Friday night, someone knocked on our door, and it was one of those people who go door to door trying to sell stuff, and I made the mistake of actually answering it, and I kid you not, the first thing this guy said when I walked out was, "Where's mom?" And I was really confused by that, so I was like, what? And he said, "Where's mom?" again, and this time he did the hand gesture you do when you're trying to indicate the height of someone, and did so to indicate the height of someone much taller than myself. And then it sunk in what was going on, and I was like, "I'm the homeowner." And then he got that, "Oh, I made a mistake" look on his face and looked like super embarrassed. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, it's just you look really young. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I didn't think you looked like you were old enough to own a house." And, you know, that already got the thing, you know, got everything off on the wrong foot, kind of. But then I listened to a stupid pitch, and basically, you know, he was like, "Oh, we redid the roof of someone up the street, and we're just going down the street and asking everyone else in the neighborhood if they'd like to take advantage of our good deals and get a free roof estimate." And stupid me, I was like, "Yeah, sure, you know what, I'll do it. We actually need to get the roof replaced in the near future, so why not get a free roof estimate?" So I gave them all my information, my cell phone number, so now I'm probably going to be getting spam calls from this company every day for like the next couple months telling me to buy a roof from them. And I also set up an appointment for the next day to have someone come over and inspect it. And after he left, I actually like looked up the company, because I just wanted to be sure like what company it is, because usually when someone comes to your door and is trying to sell you something, it's a little bit sketchy. Like, it's not always the most trustworthy company. And when I looked up the company, I realized I had made a mistake by actually making an appointment with this company, because all the reviews for this company were 1 star, and all were like, they came through my neighborhood trying to claim that they redid the roof or whatever, or windows or something like that of someone else, and were offering free estimates just to be good or whatever. And I did the free estimate. They were in my house for 4 hours, which is unnecessary. Like, you don't need to take 4 hours to do a pitch to redo someone's roof. Like, that's way too much time. And then they pressured them to sign a contract then, because apparently what they do is they'll say, like, "Here's the now price. Like, if you sign the contract now, this is your price. And if you don't sign it now, the price will go up thousands of dollars, so you better sign it because we're the cheapest company. You know, like, no one else is gonna beat us." But apparently even their initial price is way too expensive, so they will sit there in your house and pressure you to sign a contract, and will be very hard to get out of your house. And I was like, after that, I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And I called the next morning to cancel, because I did not want someone in my house for 4 hours trying to sell me on a roof. And I mean, yeah, we need to get that redone eventually, but it's not so urgent that I need to sign a contract now. And I also did not want to spend hours listening to someone rant about their company history and how it got started and why they're the best and redoing roofs or whatever, and then have to like shove them out of the house because I don't actually want a roof redone right now. But fortunately, they didn't give me any trouble when I went to cancel the appointment, which I was really worried about. But I was also reading from those reviews that if you cancel your appointment, they will call you at the same time every day for months trying to get you to reschedule. So that's great. I'm gonna get even more spam calls now, so looking forward to that. But yeah, that is why I normally do not answer the door to solicitors, but I made the mistake this time of doing that, but I'm not gonna do that again. But anyway, back to the house now. As you can see at this point, we've done the whole kitchen. Now I'm on to the dining room. And fortunately, they did actually redo the kitchen a couple years ago, so it is like really nice and updated, which is not something I was expecting to get. Like, I was figuring we'd get a house that was a little bit dated and we'd have to, redo it down the road ourselves. So it was just a nice little bonus that that's not something we have to take care of. And I also really like how they did the kitchen, because sometimes I've seen updated kitchens, but they weren't exactly done to my taste. So I was just glad that the people we bought this house from have pretty much the exact same taste we do. So like, they made pretty much the same choices I would have made when redoing the kitchen. So that was also just an even nicer little bonus. And there's actually not really any repainting that I want to do in this house, except for one of the bedrooms, but I'll get to that when we actually get to that room. So that was just another thing that was really, really nice about this house. Although something I didn't realize until we got our furniture into the house was that the dining room chairs and the couches that we have from our previous place are literally the same color as the wall of the rooms that they're in. Like, our dining room chairs are the exact same gray as the walls in the dining room, and then our couches are brown like the walls in the living room, which isn't ideal. But the last place we lived in had robin egg blue walls in the living area, so the furniture went with that place really well. But then in this place, it's like the exact same color, which isn't a huge deal. And I like the furniture. I also like the wall color, so I don't really want to redo either. So we're just gonna live with it. Like, it's not really a huge deal. Like, not everything's gonna be perfect, but I found that kind of funny when I realized that that was the case. And I do want to say that my furnishing of this house isn't exactly how it is. Like, we just moved in the place, and we moved into it from a smaller place, so we don't quite have enough furniture to fill everything up yet. But I was trying to put in things that were close to what we actually have, and then I was adding some other things in that I do want to add in the near future that are like kind of realistic. Like, I wasn't trying to add in things that are super expensive that we wouldn't be getting anytime in the near future. So, I was just trying to, ideally furnish it, but in a realistic way. Like, for example, in the living room, we have a really small rug because our living room in our old place was smaller. But in the near future, I do want to get a bigger rug for the living room that fits into it a little bit better, like the one that I put in here. And then we also don't have a table on that same wall as the front door, so that's another thing that I want to get in the near future. But we do actually have some of the stuff like the bookshelf and also the cat bed, and then there's a little scratching post next to it because I don't think I mentioned, but I do live in this house with my fiance and our 2 cats. We've got some cat related things around the house for them, like the feeder and the cat beds, which they actually never use. Like, we bought these really nice cushy cat beds for them, and they literally have never sat in them. Like, I even tried putting catnip in them to try to entice them to use it, but all they do is they'll go up to it, they'll put their front paws in it and knead a little bit, sniff it, get their catnip fix, and then they'll just leave and sit on the floor. Like, I do not get it. Like, the catnip did not work, so that's kind of frustrating, but we still keep them around anyway in the hopes that someday they will decide to use them. But anyway, right now we're on to the first of the bedrooms, and currently this bedroom is empty, but what we do want to do in the future is turn it into a guest bedroom, because our plan is to get a new bed and then put our old one in that bedroom and then just have it as a nice guest bedroom, because we can't really figure out anything else to do with it for now. And now we're on to the room that is actually my office. So this is the room I'm sitting in right now recording this video, and as you can see, it has purple walls. And at first I hated these purple walls, and I was like, I'm gonna repaint this as soon as possible. But the purple walls are actually growing on me in a way. I was thinking it might be cool to paint them another fun color, like maybe a turquoise or something like that, but I'm also kind of thinking about maybe keeping the purple and working with it, because I mean, it still is a fun color, and after getting our furniture in there, I kind of like it a little bit more, but I don't know, I might repaint it anyway. I'm still not sure, but it definitely is growing on me more than it did originally. And I'm also sticking a rug in here, which I do not actually have in this room, but I really need, because the problem is, since this house does have wood floors in all the bedrooms and the living room, it's super echoey, and I don't have much furniture in here, so what I have to do to stop it from echoing is take this Japanese futon thing that we have, which we got in place of an air mattress, and it's basically just a roll-up mattress, and I have to roll it out in the room when I record to absorb some of the echoing. And I think that's kind of annoying, so eventually I need to get a rug to put down on the floor to absorb some of the noise, and also just put some stuff up on the walls because I don't have anything hanging up on the walls. But what I did actually want to do was buy some of the official Sims merch because I think they have some of the movie posters that are in the game that you can hang up. So, like, some of the things I put on the wall are things that I actually want to get in real life, and I think the Sims merch store is still around. I'm not sure. I think I might have heard something about it not being around anymore, but I hope it is because I really wanted to buy some posters from it to hang up in the room because I feel like that would be perfect. So hopefully I can still do that in the near future. But that room is actually pretty accurate apart from the rug. Like, I do have a bookshelf in there. We've got a cat bed, which is another cat bed that our cats literally will never sit in. Like, they'll just sit on the floor instead. I don't get it, but whatever. That's what they chose to do. But we are done with that room, so now we're on to the room that is our bedroom, and I was pretty accurately able to furnish it, although I wasn't able to find a bed that was like ours, because ours has a back to it, like a headboard to it that's taller, but it's black and it's a little bit more modern looking. But this was kind of the closest. Like, there is the cheap bed, which probably would have looked better, but I didn't like the comforters that came with the black headboard, so I just used this one instead. But like I said, there's some approximations that I had to make, and then also we do have a dresser in the room. It's actually this really old dresser that, or not really old, like it's about as old as I am, so I mean, I don't think that's super old, but it was actually a dresser that my grandparents got for me when I was first born. So I just had that dresser my whole life, so I took it with me when I moved out of my parents' house, and then now it's with me in this house. And then we also have a wardrobe that we got from the neighbor we had at our old place when she had moved out. And it's actually a really nice wardrobe. It doesn't look like that one, but still, I managed to find one that I could fit in. I also have a vanity, so yeah, I was pretty accurately able to furnish that. So now we're on to the bathrooms, and this house does have 2 bathrooms. So we have the hall bathroom, and then we also have another little bathroom off of our bedroom, which I was really happy about. Like, I don't care that it's not a fancy master suite. Like, I'm just happy to have an actual proper master bathroom, even if it is this little one, which I'm perfectly fine with, because honestly, like, when I see those huge master suites, like, yeah, that's nice, and I don't know, I guess maybe it would be kind of nice to have one someday, but then I also look at it, I'm like, I would have to clean all of that. Like, I'd have to clean all that tile. Like, it looks pretty now, but all of that tile gets mildew, and you have to scrub it off, or, like, you know, do stuff to prevent it from getting mildewy, and that's annoying. And then also, like, those big soaker tubs hardly ever get used, and you have to clean those, and those big showers with, like, the fancy tile in it. That tile gets mold and, you know, can get stuff on it that you have to clean out. And, like, I don't want to spend a bunch of time cleaning a big shower, you know. I feel like when they do those home renovation shows and they have those fancy bathrooms, like, you don't always think about how much of a pain it is to keep that clean. So I'm actually fine with just having a smaller bathroom. Although redoing it sometime in the future is on my list of things that I would like to do in this house in the future, although that's like a further down the road thing because redoing bathrooms is a very expensive project. But it's not like super dated. Like, they did some cheaper things to update the bathroom a little bit, but it's just, as you may have noticed, the layout's a little wonky because when you get out of the shower, you're literally walking into the side of the sink, so it's just kind of an awkward layout. So I do want to redo it in the future just to kind of fix that and make it a layout that works a little bit better. And another thing that I want to do to this house is put sliding glass doors and a deck in the backyard so we can actually use the backyard a little bit easier, because there's really not a whole lot going on out there. Like, that's the reason why the yard of this house didn't have much in it other than trees and, like, some garden boxes and a fire pit, which aren't actually out there, but those were things I could see us easily adding in the near future, so I just stuck them there so there's more to the yard than just grass and trees. But I'm hoping that's something we can also do in the future, although I'd imagine that knocking out the wall to put in a big doors to go outside is kind of an expensive ordeal. But yeah, that's on my wish list of future things for the house. But right now we're on to the basement, and I'm doing the unfinished part of the basement, because with the basement, the area next to and behind the stairs is just all unfinished, and that's where the laundry is and all of the things that help the house run, like the hot water heater and the boiler is, although I couldn't exactly, there's nothing that's like a boiler item, so my best approximation of that was combining that tank thing that came with Get to Work and also that pipe, which looks no, it doesn't really look that much like the boiler, but I mean, you got the pressure dial on it, so it kind of works in a way. And then I'm just sticking some junk in here because in the part of it that is not the laundry area, there's literally just a bunch of junk, so that's pretty accurate. That's where we just stuck the things that we don't know what to do with, but that we don't want to see. So I actually like having the unfinished part of the basement just for sticking stuff in. And then I couldn't get the laundry area exact either, like that's not actually the tile that's down there, but I couldn't find the exact kind of linoleum. And also the reason why the cinder block is a different color between the two areas is because they painted the cinder block in the area where the laundry room is, but then they didn't paint it in the other area. Like, it's the same room, but one part of it has tile and painted cinder block, and the other one just has the cement and then unpainted cinder block. And that area is also really handy for putting the litter boxes in because they're nice and out of the way for us, and also for the cats, because I think it's a little bit nice for them to have it be out of the way too, because no one really wants an audience when they're doing their business. But we're on to the rest of the basement now, which is basically just an open area that has a few columns in it, which are necessary for stopping the house from falling down. But this area is honestly one of my favorite parts of the house, and I feel like proportionally it looks a little bit bigger than it actually is. It's kind of hard to tell though, because I feel like things look different when you're looking up from above rather than at eye level, so it's kind of hard to say, but I feel like it's pretty close to how it is. Although with the furnishing of this area, I took a lot of liberties. It doesn't actually look how it does in here. Like, the carpet and the wall color is actually pretty accurate, but we have hardly anything in the basement. Like, all we have is this dinky TV cart with a little TV on it and then an old futon, and that is pretty much it. Apart from also my exercise equipment, because I just have like some dumbbells and, you know, some other random exercise equipment down there, because all we really use the basement for right now is exercising. And I am putting a punching bag and a weightlifting machine in the corner, which is not accurate because I do not have that stuff, but they don't have dumbbells in the game, so this is kind of the best thing I could do to show that this is what I use the basement for, because I don't really like going to the gym. Like, I prefer just doing workout videos or like doing my own thing at home, because it does save a lot of time, and I just like being able to do my own thing. Although with the weather getting nicer, I might try running, although I don't really like running much. Like, I kind of just like doing my own, like, you know, just working out indoors or whatever. Like, I just particularly don't like running. But anyway, what I want to do, like what we want to do with this basement is make it a really cool hangout area. Like, we want to get maybe like a foosball table and some other stuff down there, just to make it somewhere when we have friends over we can hang out down there. And also putting a desk in here, because another thing we want to do is put, like, he wants to put a desk down here for the occasions when he has to do work-related things at home. And I just want to add a bunch of stuff to this basement, because it wouldn't be very fun if I uploaded this house and you literally just had like a couch and a TV in the basement, because I actually do want this to be something that's kind of fun to play in. But we are almost at the end of the video, so I hope you all enjoy this. It's a little different than my usual speed builds. Like, this commentary is a little bit more rambly and chatty than usual, so I hope you all enjoyed that. And as usual, if you want to download this, there'll be stuff on how to do so in the description, and that's going to be all from me, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.